Jen Marilla. This is my YouTube channel for entrepreneurs, bloggers, and content creators. If you're brand new, thanks for stopping by. I hope you stick around. You want to subscribe. And if you're coming back, thank you for coming back. It's always good to see you. Today is going to be epic because we're talking about how to get from 0 to 10,000 Instagram followers, all the tips, tricks, and hacks that you need to know to actually make this happen. This video is the recreation of one of the last videos I did about 2 or 3 years ago. So you guys, I'm gonna drop all the bombs that you guys need in order to make your 2020 Instagram feed the bomb. All right, you guys, so let's get into it. Today's video, again, is all about how to get from 0 to 10,000 Instagram follows, all the tips and tricks that you need to know now in 2020. The video I did about 3 years ago definitely had a lot of useful tips and tricks then, not so much now. There's the core of that video, which is going to be the core of this video, is that the most important thing about Instagram that you guys need to know is that it is all about engagement. So the most important thing Instagram wants people to do is engage. Be on Instagram. Literally be on Instagram. Be on Instagram doing stories, liking, commenting, having conversations with people, the DMs. You know, one of the biggest things that happened at the middle of 2019, and it's slowly starting to happen now in 2020, is they're removing the likes. They're doing that because it's not about the likes anymore, it's about the engagement, the questions that people are asking, the quality of the content. Instagram is really, really stepping it up when they're like, we want to take it to the next level, and what does that look like, right? So I have my notes. You're gonna want to get a pen and paper right now because I'm gonna give you guys some serious tips, hacks, and tricks to how to grow Instagram. Okay, so before we get into it, housekeeping rules, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and drop your comments if you guys have any questions below. First thing is first. Likes don't mean anything. We wanna get that crystal clear. If you're posting on Instagram because you want likes, stop. Like seriously, just get off Instagram. Go do something else with your life. That is more important. It's not about the likes. It is about the engagement, the comments, the questions. And I tell people all the time, when you don't feel like posting, there's nothing naturally coming out that feels good, don't post it, because chances are that people pick that shit up and it's not gonna be good content, right? You have to think quality over quantity. That is what 2020 is all about on the gram, okay? All right, so you wanna follow your girl, Jen Marilla. Here's my Instagram page. You wanna follow me for business tips, travel hacks, everything and anything that I do with my life. I share a lot. I mean, I get on stories and sometimes I look like a fool and sometimes I look fabulous and other times whatever, but it is a good way to really get to know me. So if you have not subscribed to my Instagram, you wanna go over there and you wanna click that follow button and shoot me a message. Tell me that you came from YouTube. I love knowing that my audience comes from YouTube. It makes me feel so good. They're obviously watching and you enjoy this content. So tip number 1. Back in the day, we used to say that, when I say back in the day, I mean like what, 2 or 3 years ago, when you would do the follow for follow, that would build engagement, and that did work, and it used to work. However, nowadays, it does not work. Instagram is cracking down on all the fake stuff. So follow for follow doesn't work. Putting a robot to like see videos and things like that, Instagram is cracking down. Hiring a robot to put comments, to like as many photos as possible, Instagram is cracking down. None of that works anymore. So you don't want to do that. However, what does work is you organically cleaning up your feed. So for example, sometimes you have a lot of followers and you don't really get to see everybody's feed. Going into your followers and actually deleting what you no longer want to see or be invested in is totally cool and absolutely allowed and actually encouraged. That helps grow the algorithm just a little bit. People are always like, oh, the algorithms change. Like, yes, the algorithms change, and there's also a ton of people on Instagram. So it's not so much that the algorithm has changed, it is that there's so many people on Instagram that in order for everybody to see everything, there has to be a curated feed or theme, right? We only want to see quality. That is the most important thing. And Instagram is really, really hacking down on safety. They're actually watching accounts that have very specific language. They're using specific hashtags, things like that, just to like make sure that Instagram is a safe place for everybody, right? Not just for adults, but for kids too. Super important. So to wrap that up, we want to say the follow for follow is dead. Buying followers, hiring robots to like and comment, all that stuff, none of that works. So don't use it. Don't waste your money. Instagram will find you and block you. Trust me. Number 2, keeping people on the platform, right? I mentioned earlier, Instagram is all about engaging. You want to keep people on Instagram, right? You want to keep people asking questions, having conversations, being in communication with each other. So the biggest hack is keeping people on Instagram. Ask questions, use your stories. When I say ask questions, I mean in your posts, actually ask a question. A lot of the times I either ask you guys on Instagram to drop your favorite emoji about something, or tell me you agree and say amen, like drop me an amen. When you post your captions, the most important thing is that you're asking questions. What is your call to action? Are you sending people to go to the link in your bio? Keeping them on the platform, okay? The most important thing, utilizing stories, a minimum of 6 stories a day. I've heard that you can use 3. I really think 6 is super impactful. So using a minimum of 6 stories, and it just doesn't have to be like just of you talking on your phone, like blah, 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 blah. It could be about you sharing content, you polling and asking questions, keeping people engaged on your page. Do you see my theme, people? Number 3, obviously, stories, right? Get really creative with your stories. I honestly have started posting a lot less, and I am always on my stories. Always, always, always on my stories. Very rarely on the weekends am I like not on my stories, but I am literally always, always, always on my stories. So I barely post anymore. I mean, I still get really good engagement, but my biggest engagement is my stories because I ask questions and I get people involved, and they love it. So using stories, you wanna use polls, you wanna ask questions, you wanna use a lot of the GIFs, share what's behind the scene. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see behind the scenes of me like recording YouTube videos, planning out courses, traveling, having meetings in New York City with big brands, like those types of things. And I let you guys in because it's obviously a space that I can and it's easy. This brings me to number 4. When you get a new follower, this is a little tip. It's really nice to welcome them into your community, right? I don't do this all the time, truth be told. I will send them a message, a voice note, and say, hey, like, I'm so glad that you're following me. I really love your content. And I'll go and I'll like their first photo, or I'll send them a message. But do not, and I repeat, do not use the exact same message for all your messages. The algorithm sees that, and it just makes you look robotic and not human. So be a human, right? Which is also why I don't recommend that you do it for all your followers. I do it for every other follower that I get, if I'm being honest, just because I don't really have time. And so when I'm on my phone, like, dicking around, I will see that somebody follows me, I'll go ahead and shoot them a message. I will go to their profile, look at their page, see if they're real, like something, and then I'll shoot them a message, welcome them to my community, because it's always awesome. And you're already creating that connection and that engagement right there. So that is a really good tip. Number 5, don't be afraid to have conversations with people in your captions and in your posts, in your stories and in your DMs. Again, the core of what you're trying to do on Instagram is keep people on Instagram. Instagram wants you to do that. How do you do that? You have conversations with people. So when I introduce somebody into my community and I reach out to them and it's a voice note, I ask them to tell me about their business, or I comment them on something I've seen on their page about somewhere they've traveled or their most recent photo or something like that. So really, really, really important for you to do the same thing, even in your captions, right? Asking questions, continuing to ask questions. And I'm gonna give you guys an example. So let's say you ask, how was your weekend? And somebody says, oh, my weekend was awesome. That's it, right? You go in and you say, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm so glad you had a great weekend. Do you have any plans for the following weekend? Start having the continuous conversation. That person may or may not answer. However, if they do, it's really great because the algorithm sees that you are keeping people on the platform, you're creating engagement, okay? Number 6, this one everybody talks about all the time. People ask me questions about this all the time. Hashtags. How much do we love hashtags? Okay, hashtags are very important. If you guys want me to do a video on hashtags, I want you to drop me in the comments of this YouTube video, hashtag. Just write hashtag and just drop it. If I get enough, I'm gonna do a video on hashtags because hashtags are very important. I will give you this tip. You get 30 hashtags you can put on. I recommend you keep it between 20 and 25. Of the most important, you have to change hashtags. Do not use all the same hashtags. You wanna use different hashtags based on different types of content that you post. If you post about cupcakes and you post about cupcakes on Monday and then on Tuesday you post about donuts, do not use the same hashtags that you use for those cupcakes for the donuts. Mix it up, change it up. What happens is that the algorithm will start to think that you're a robot and it'll just think you're spam and won't show people your feed. So you wanna mix up different types of hashtags. Very, very important. Again, if you guys wanna see a video on hashtags, drop me in the comments below, hashtag, 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 and your girl will create one because I definitely have some tips for that. Number 7. So this is a little bit more of the quality of your page, right? Find your niche. The days of Instagram when you used to post random selfies and random pictures pictures of food and dogs and cats and unicorns don't exist anymore. Like, no, you need to create a feed that creates quality, right? Ask yourself the question, what it is that you do on Instagram for people. How do you help people? You can answer the question, how do you help people? And maybe you don't have a business and you're just a regular Joe Schmo and you just want to grow your Instagram. You still have to answer that question. Because if you want to grow your Instagram, there's obviously an intention there to potentially create a business out of it or something like that. So you want to be able to answer that question. How do you help people? And when you're able to answer that, you're able to create a niche. On my page, it says that I help female entrepreneurs create online businesses, scale them, and create impact, right? And that's pretty simple, right? That's what I do. That's my jam. And so all of my content on my feed is about that. I used to be a full-time travel blogger. I don't travel as much anymore. However, all the trips that I do, I obviously take pictures and I still talk about it because that is the core of my brand and that's what created me. But on Instagram, I am all about women entrepreneurship and I talk about all that kind of stuff, right? So you wanna make sure that there is a niche and there is a point to what you are creating on Instagram. And you know, something to remember, you guys, is this isn't an end all. Like, just because you choose today that you're gonna talk about comic books, that in 10 years you have to continue to talk about comic books. Like, no, maybe you don't. And maybe you wanna start talking about like Harry Potter. That's cool too, whatever. My point is, pick a theme, pick a niche. This brings me to number 8. You know, on your Instagram feed, the little bio, that little section everybody's always talking about, right? That some of us don't pay attention to. That is really important. Like, very important. Reasons being is that for SEO purposes, you have to be able to state exactly what you do and how you help people. So if people are searching for you, you're searchable. Okay, so you want to make sure that your bio answers that question. How do you help people? You want to make sure you're sending them to a location where they can find more information about you, and then maybe share a fun fact or share your press or something like that. But the bio section of your Instagram page is extremely important. You also want to keep your name. If you're a business, I highly recommend that you have your business name, and or if you're a personal brand, to have your personal name, because again, it goes back to SEO purposes and people being able to find you a lot easier. Pay attention to that section. It's very important. You want to fix it if it's not right. Number 9, this is a really cool hack. I actually learned it from Gary Vee. I forgot what the actual strategy is called. He has a name for it, so we're not gonna reference it, but it is a Gary Vee strategy. And he basically says, pick the top 10 hashtags that you like in your industry, and you want to pick between like really big, being over 100,000, to like mediocre, under 100,000, and I would say like between 50 and 100, and then anything lower than 50, right? So I would do 3, 3, and 3. You want to pick relevant hashtags to your industry, okay? So for example, let's say you're gonna do women entrepreneurs, okay? You wanna go to the recent and the top, and you wanna go in and either like or comment one of the 2 posts. I would do both if you have time, but doing that every day for 10 accounts really helps to grow the algorithm. So it's really cool. I've seen some changes lately. I've started to implement this about, I would say, a week and a half, and just within the last 3 or 4 days, I finally started to see some really good changes. But again, it is time that you have to spend on the platform, so be well aware of that. When you run a business, it is a little difficult. But that's a really cool hack. And again, what am I saying? The foundation of this actually working is that you're on the platform, you're creating engagement, you're getting people to stay there. And last but not least, number 10, links in the description. I get questions about this all the time. So there's different platforms to use, like a third-party platform where you can create a link and then you can have just a page with all your stuff. Now, I highly recommend not to do that. The reason being is that those third-party platforms have control of that page. Sometimes Instagram blocks them because they're really spammy, and sometimes they don't work. So you're losing an audience, you're losing people if you have a business when you're creating that page. My recommendation is that you create part of your website, one page that kind of looks like that. And so for example, if you go to my bio and you click on my link, it takes you to my actual website. So right there, I'm keeping people on my website, which is awesome. And then I'm driving them from that page to a different part of my page on my website, depending on what these people are searching for. So it's a really cool hack for you to keep people on your website, keep the engagement, and keep that momentum going. Highly recommend it. Again, you do not want to do the third party thing. I'm not crazy about it, to be honest with you. All right, guys, so there you have it. These are my 10 tips, tricks, and hacks to growing your Instagram account from 0 to 10,000 and eventually more, right? Just keep using these tips. They're gonna be super helpful. And I'm gonna give you guys a quick recap. The most important thing is that you keep people on the platform. You want to engage, engage, engage. It is the most powerful thing. Instagram is hacking on the fake followers, the bots, all that stuff. Like, it no longer works, so do not use it. Got it? All right, brings me to number 1. The follow for follow doesn't work. Don't buy your followers, never buy your followers. That's just stupid. Like straight up, it's so stupid. Because people know, people can see that stuff. It's not worth the time and energy. Like just put really good content out there. Don't waste your time like paying to be in front when you really should be all the way in the back. Number 2, keeping people on the platform, creating engagement and conversation. How do you do that? Through stories, a minimum of 6 stories a day, or asking questions in the captions. You want to use the tools and tips that they have for Instagram stories, like asking questions in the question box, polling people, all that stuff. Really, really helpful to keep people on your Instagram page. Okay, number 3, using stories. Again, a minimum of 6 stories a day, and you wanna poll, you wanna add GIFs, like you wanna create engagement. And again, I highly recommend that it's okay for you not to post a photo in your actual feed, but to actually post stories more. Give people the behind the scenes, show them what life is all about and what you're doing here, right? Like this is important, and people wanna see that because it gives you more of a personality and you're not so robotic, okay? Number 4, do not send the same DM message. So when you get a follower, if you have an automated system that sends them a message, don't do it. Stop right now. Create different types of messages for different type of people. I don't do this for every single follower, but every once in a while I'll drop in and I'll make a voice note or I'll shoot them a quick text after I've already looked at their feed, liked a few photos, and really have gotten to know them. Again, this does take time, so I understand that as a business owner, it's not viable for you to do this all the time, but you can hire somebody to help you do this, or you can just do this on your downtime. I would pick, I don't know, the first 10 followers you have or something like that. Number 5, engagement. When you are creating captions, you wanna make sure you're asking questions. You're getting people involved. When they've answered the question, continue to ask more questions. Keep having conversations and do the same thing in the DMs, okay? You wanna make sure that your captions are meaningful. Just because they're long and you think, oh, nobody's gonna read them. Like, no, the right person that needs to read your stuff will read it. And number 6, hashtags. Everybody knows that hashtags are super important, but nobody knows how to use them. If you guys want me to do a video on hashtags, I need you to drop in the comments below, hashtag, hashtag, hashtag. You can do it one time. Just drop it and I will create a video for you guys on how to actually use hashtags. I will tell you that you get up to 30 hashtags, and I recommend that you use 20 to 25 of the best, and you want to change it up. You do not want to keep it the same, because then Instagram will think that you are a robot and it'll just think you're spam, and then people won't see your content. So change up the hashtags. You want to change up the hashtags. Again, if you want me to create a video, drop hashtag in the comments below and I will create a video for you guys. Number 7 is finding your niche. I feel like this is a no-brainer. The days of random ice cream cones and Instagram selfies no longer are valid. You want to create quality content for people. So pick a niche, answer the question, I am here to help people, blah, blah, blah. And when you're able to answer that, create what that answer is. Number 8 is the Instagram bio. You wanna make sure your Instagram bio is tidy up and it exactly says what you do to help people. All that information should be there, so when somebody looks at your page, they know exactly what they are going to get. The reason this is important is because of SEO. The SEO actually picks up that part of the feed. And number 9, pick your top 10 industry hashtags and go in and like and comment the top and most recent posts within those hashtags. You only need 10, and I recommend that you do this every other day. I started doing this on my feed about a week and a half ago, and I've seen the engagement, so it's definitely something that absolutely works. And last but not least, number 10, the links in the description. You want to make sure that you're not using a third-party link, that you're creating a separate page of your website where people can find all the places in one location. The reason this is really good is because 1, you have control of that website, and 2, you're keeping people on your website, so it's really good for your SEO and your website algorithm. All right, you guys, so there you have it. You have my 10 tips, tricks, and hacks to growing your Instagram and what it's going to take in 2020. But the most important thing I want you guys to remember is engagement, engagement, engagement. I want you to think quality versus quantity. It is the most important thing. We are no longer in the stage of, I need 1 million followers to be cool. Like, nah, actually people don't really care. So I answered this question. Are you showing up for yourself? Are you doing it for other people? And are you doing something that people want to see? Are you putting out quality content that feeds people's souls? If you are, then good job. If you're not, then I would go back to the drawing board and use these tips and tricks to help you grow your Instagram feed in 2020. All right, you guys, I hope you found this video super impactful and helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Drop your comments below, and don't forget to add hashtag in the comments below if you want me to create a video on hashtags. Until next time, you guys, have a beautiful day, a lot of love and light, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.